Hey guys, good morning. Thanks so much for joining me this morning here on live. My name is Channing. If you're new here, I'm a journalist, former news anchor, and I do these live morning news updates. Usually Monday through Friday, just kind of breaking down some of the big news stories of the day. Do me a favor, go ahead and start tapping your screen for me and kind of let's get into it with some of the big news stories of the day. There's lots to get into. If you're interested, I'm also streaming live on YouTube and Twitch as well. So if you're interested in seeing some of like the videos that I'm talking about and more of like the full screens of the actual stories that I'm talking about, you can flip on over to YouTube and follow me at Channing Curtis as well. So yeah, lots to get into today. Of course, President Trump is still doing his Middle East tour. Misty, thanks for liking the live, friend. I appreciate you. President Trump is still doing his Middle East tour. He is heading for Abu Dhabi today, and a lot of people have some mixed feelings about his tour, including feelings about, whether or not he's going to be accepting of this plane, and of course, this $600 billion investment by Saudi Arabia. Also have to talk about this SCOTUS hearing today because the Supreme Court is actually hearing a birthright citizenship case. If you remember, President Trump just in the first week of his second term here really signed an executive order really effectively ending the Birthright Citizenship Act. So we have to talk a little bit more about that. And of course, today is day 4 of P. Diddy's trial. I've been doing a bit of following this case, and so I have a bit of a breakdown in a playlist actually that's available on my profile right now if you want to take a look back about some of the things that's already been happening in this case. But yeah, today we're entering in day 4. P. Diddy's ex, Cassie, who's really the star witness in this case, is going to be on the stand once again today. So she has already been answering questions from the prosecution over the last couple of days, answering questions in regards to their relationship. Courtney, good morning, friend. It's been a minute. Haven't seen you on here. So yeah, she's been answering a lot of questions from the prosecution already over the last couple of days. But today is the day where Diddy's attorneys are going to get the chance to cross-examine her. They're going to get the chance to ask her all of the questions about those freak-offs, about her relationship with Diddy, and really ask all of those questions about why she stayed with him for so long. So today is going to be very, very, very contentious. So yeah, we got to get into that. So yeah, lots to get into today. So yeah, if you're new here, my name is Channing. I'm a journalist. I do these live news updates several times a week, usually Monday through Friday though in the morning. So yeah, if you're not already, give me a follow and start tapping your screen for me. I really appreciate it. All right, so let's get into it this morning. Guilty times 3. Courtney, since we're already talking about it, let's go ahead. Let's start off with Diddy this morning because it's still one of the top trending stories. I mentioned this one. If you need a little bit of a refresher on the case, because a lot of people do, I actually have a few videos breaking down the first few days of the trial and some of the biggest moments from witness testimony, of course. So yeah, if you want to learn a little bit more about that, we can definitely get into that and everything like that. But they're available on my profile right now. Talking about some of the things that Cassie actually said on the first 2 days on the stand, and even some of the things that the male escort has even said on the stand. He was one of the first witness that took to the stand and talked about some of the things that he witnessed from some of these freak-offs. So just kind of going into the nitty gritty, if you didn't know, so Sean Diddy Combs, of course, he's pleaded not guilty to 3 different charges. He's being charged with racketeering conspiracy, 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, along with 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. Now, I want to be clear on all of these different things. Stacy, thank you for the follow, friend. So just to be clear, none of these charges really have anything to do with, his assault or abuse necessarily of Cassie. Cassie is really the star witness here because she is really the one who's able to prove all of these other charges. Racketeering, of course, is the charge that's being brought about because they're saying that he used the money from his different enterprises, from Bad Boy Records, from Sean John, all of these different things to fund his different illegal and illicit behaviors, right? So that's where the racketeering charge definitely comes in. So today, like I mentioned, Cassie, his ex, is going to be back on the witness stand once again. This time she's going to be answering questions, though, from Diddy's attorneys. Over the last couple of days, she's been answering questions from the prosecution, and they have asked a lot of different questions. And I want to note that Cassie is pregnant on the witness stand, and she has been answering questions for the last 2 days. And these questions, I've said this several times, some of these questions there's no way I would answer. Like, I don't think I would have the strength to get up on this witness stand and answer just currently in my normal day-to-day state. So the fact that she is up there pregnant and answering these questions in front of Sean Diddy Combs, in front of her ex, knowing all of the things that she has gone through, she's looking him dead in his eye and still able to address all of these things and answer these questions in front of him, in front of his children, in front of his mother, and in front of her own husband. It's mind-blowing to me. Now, there are no cameras allowed in the courtroom, so that's why you're not seeing any footage and you're seeing just those courtroom sketches, rather, instead of actual photographs and things like that. Kiki, thanks for the heart for the day. Thank you so much. Yeah, please, guys, I'd appreciate any gifts that you want to send, any hearts, things like that. Thank you so much. So yeah, there's no cameras allowed in the courtroom. Of course, this is federal court, so the rules for cameras in the courtroom are a lot more stringent than, say, any other courtroom or things of that nature. And they traditionally don't allow cameras in the courtroom. It's usually more of an exception rather than a rule that cameras are allowed and things like that. So yeah, that's why there are no cameras. That's why we're seeing a lot of the courtroom sketches, and you're hearing more of after hearing testimony as opposed to, getting all of the, live drama as it's happening. There are a lot of people, though, who are doing like kind of live tweeting, things of that nature, and are doing just kind of post-hearing synopsis. There are a lot of really good people. I've been following this lady, actually Jewel Manzi on Twitter, who's been doing a great job of tweeting out everything. She's phenomenal if you want to follow her on X. Let's see what you guys are saying, though. Courtney, yes, imagine hearing these details as a husband. And not only as a husband, because her husband is the one who helped to get her out of this situation. Her husband was her trainer at the time. Diddy was paying her husband to be her personal trainer, and he helped get her out of this situation. And so now he's having to relive this with Cassie, hearing firsthand a lot of this information from her. And yeah, I can only imagine. Oh my gosh, I can't. Kiki saying the sketch of Puffy, the gray hair. Yes, a lot of people have been talking about the sketches that they have seen come out of the courtroom. So Diddy has been seen with gray hair, of course, like he's not allowed to have hair dye in prison and everything like that. But other people are saying this has been more of a defensive ploy to kind of show an image of him as more elderly, as more feeble, and to make him more sympathetic to the jury, or make the jury more sympathetic to him. Of course, his family is also there in the courtroom now. His daughters weren't there yesterday. They were on their way to prom. And his daughters have been in and out of the courtroom, especially during some of the more, more explicit testimony, especially during some of the testimony that was given by one of the male escorts. So they were not in the courtroom during that time. Kiki, very true. It did not work with Weinstein. That is very, very true. But the majority of his family has been there. His sons have been there. His mom has been there. One of the mothers of one of his children has also been there in the courtroom as well. So he has had a lot of family support, and he's also been playing that up quite a bit while in the courtroom as well. He's been seen, kind of doing the hand hearts to his kids, even just making like other little symbols, kind of blowing kisses, that kind of thing as well. Just kind of playing that up. Not saying whether or not that's actually a ploy, but some people have said that can be, and it has been in the past with other cases, a bit of a defensive tactic, because juries do like to see that, and juries do tend to empathize and sympathize with a person who is seen as being a family kind of man and that kind of thing, because ultimately you just need to have at least one person on that 12-person jury to find reasonable doubt, or to find any kind of reason to doubt that Diddy is guilty on any of these counts. So now, a lot of the things that came out yesterday, of course, over the last couple of days, they have really been asking Cassie a lot about, like I said, the nature of her relationship with Diddy, how it started, and mostly about the nature of these freak-offs. We talked a lot about freak-offs in relation to this case, and that's really been a lot of the center of this case in regards to, what was going on with these freak-offs. Were any of these freak-offs, quote-unquote, consensual? Who was involved? Where did they take place? When did they take place? How frequently did they happen? And even Cassie mentioned at one point yesterday, she's not even sure how often they happened. And she said at one point, they flat out asked her how often did they happen or how many of them did she take part in, and she said flat out, I'm not even sure, probably hundreds. She said the longest one lasted for 4 days, but on average they lasted between 36 and 48 hours. And she said she spent most of her time really participating in these freak offs with Diddy, and then in the recovery period. Recovering from these meant taking a lot of fluids, IVs, things of that nature, because, well, there's a lot of activity going on in these freak offs. And if you're not aware of what these freak offs are, it's a lot of sexually explicit activity that's going on between her and these paid sexual escorts that are paid to do sexually explicit behavior with her, and Diddy's typically watching in the corner. That's based on all the testimony that she said. This is what's typically happens. It's usually with her and other male escorts, one or several. And also lots and lots of baby oil is typically involved. Baby oil and or Astroglide. So yeah, yes, it's a lot. One of the most insane things I heard, she said at one point there was a hotel room where he got one of those like kiddie, like inflatable pools kind of things inside the hotel room, had it filled with baby oil and all this kind of stuff, and made her get in with her clothes on. And yeah, it was messy, and yeah, it was a lot. So yeah, this is one of those times where I'm actually glad that TikTok is filtering comments. 'Cause, yeah. Courtney, yes, my thoughts exactly, yes. Because like reading through the stuff, like, and I feel like I've said this in each one of my videos, like where I recap like the testimony of the day, I don't think I would make it on this jury. Like, actually, I know I wouldn't make it on this jury. I know for a fact that I would be kicked off of this jury immediately just based on my facial expressions. Because the first time they say something about one of these freak offs and they mention something about baby oil, my facial expressions alone are going to get me immediately kicked off the jury. And I'm going to be like, you know what? It's fine. I'm going to see myself out. You're right. Because the man is guilty of sin. Go ahead and see me out. No, put an alternate in. Don't worry about it. Like, put the next person in. Like, it's an immediate for me. Immediate. Like, there's no way. As soon as homegirl got up on the stand, I'd be like, you know what? See me out right now. Because, D, thank you. Because to talk about the jury for just a little bit, though, so the jury is made up of 12 people. There are 8 men and 4 women. Sam, thank you for joining the team, friend. Thank you for your heart of the day. They range in age, and they're quite a bit older. The youngest person I want to say is 31. The oldest person is 74. And like I mentioned, they are mostly men, 8 men, 4 women, and there are 6 alternates. So yeah, it's a really interesting demographic makeup, I think, at least. And no surprise, though, that there are mostly men on this jury. No surprise there whatsoever. That was definitely a strategic move, definitely on the defense's part. But yeah, there's no way in this world that I could serve on that jury with any type of straight face at all. Like 2 seconds in. First question of the day, first time a witness gets on that stand and answers absolutely anything, I'm out. Immediately. So yeah. Other things that were mentioned, Cassie did mention that there were several times that Diddy threatened her ex, Kid Cudi, with violence, which I thought was really interesting. And these are things that had been rumored through like different gossip sites throughout the years. And she actually did say that on the witness stand, that there were a couple of times that he actually threatened him with violence. She also talked about one time in a hotel room that we'll get there, yes, in just 1 second, that during one of these freak offs that actually somebody came in and said that Suge Knight was in the immediate area and that Diddy took off with some weapons, and that she still doesn't know exactly what happened there as to whether or not they had any type of altercation. But I thought that one was really, really interesting too. That was another one that she actually mentioned. Other things, though, got very, very explicit and really heinous. And like I said, I can't imagine any of that. Travis, did I hear about Jay-Z being named along with Diddy? No, I haven't seen anything like that. So there was a lawsuit that came out, what was this, a couple of months ago, where a woman named both of them in a suit. But that suit has been dropped, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, but as far as this trial though, I haven't seen him being named or anything like that. As a matter of fact, I haven't seen any other celebrities be named in this lawsuit, or I mean, rather in this hearing at all. The only people that I have seen be named other than Diddy were just people that worked for him. Other than, like I mentioned, like Kid Cudi was named, and Suge Knight was named. But other than that, there haven't been any other celebrities that I saw mentioned. Just going through just kind of court transcripts and things of that nature. The only other people that I've even seen be mentioned were just people that worked for or around Diddy. So the people who were employed by him. But no, nobody else have I seen be mentioned at all. But a lot of people have wondered if any other celebrities would be implicated. Oh, thank you so much. Call me Mr. Broadstreet. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, but I know a lot of people are waiting to see if any other celebrities will be mentioned. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see about that one. Now, court, let's see, should be underway here. Yeah, it already for the day. It should already be convening for the day. I haven't seen any updates just yet as far as what is going on there this morning just yet. Like I mentioned, though, they will be starting with Cassie this morning, and with the defense getting a chance to cross-examine her this morning. So it should be getting underway actually right about now. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. In the meantime, though, let's switch gears and talk about some other big news, though. I see, Kiki, you asked me about Trump in the Middle East. So let's get right over to that one this morning. We do know, of course, President Trump is kind of rounding out his Middle East tour today. He is making a stop in Abu Dhabi after finishing. He visited, of course, Saudi Arabia and Qatar over the last several days. He actually just arrived in Abu Dhabi within the last 30 minutes or so. And his visit there to the Middle East has had some really, really mixed reviews, including from some of his staunchest supporters. And a lot of that comes from one of really what people are considering one of the highlights of his trip. And that is that $6 billion investment that was announced in an agreement signed by the Saudi Arabian Crown Prince and the Saudi Arabian government. So in a fact sheet that was actually released by the White House, they announced this $600 billion investment by the Saudi Arabian government that, according to the White House, is going to, quote, build economic ties that will endure for generations to come. So they're saying there's going to be a $20 billion investment in AI data centers and energy infrastructure in the U.S. Let's see, $2 billion in U.S. services exports. Let's see, $14.2 billion in Boeing 737-8 passenger aircraft. There will be more in the healthcare sector, energy investment funds, defense technologies. It's a lot. There's a lot of money that is going to be spent across several different sectors throughout the United States. Again, $600 billion, that is a lot of money that can and will be spent. That is a lot of money. And like I mentioned, some of his staunchest supporters are now some of the people who are coming out and speaking and being the most critical of him in this. And in addition to that, I do want to mention too, there is the whole plane situation where there is the whole Qatari plane situation where they're talking about giving him a plane, where again a lot of his staunchest supporters, including like conservative like podcasters, like even Ben Shapiro has come out and said that that's clearly just buying the presidency, which I thought was really interesting that Ben Shapiro would come out and say something like that. Did the mobile Mickey D's truck follow him there too? No, not that I've seen. That's a good question. But no, I will say though, what I have found to be really interesting is just, to be fair, his staunch supporters hate all. Absolutely. Those are facts. 100% those are facts. Those kind, like the Ben Shapiros of the world. I want to say that side of it, of yes. But he has had a lot of support while speaking over there. Like when speaking with, like, again, the Saudi crown prince, he went to Syria and met with the Syrian, the leader of the Syrian government there, the new Syrian president, and even mentioned that he wants to ease sanctions there on Syria, which is really interesting. And he's the first president, the first U.S. president to meet with the leader of Syria in 25 years. So it is a really interesting, almost shift. And like I mentioned, some of his staunch supporters are now accusing him of moving away from his America First kind of movement that he ran on, the platform that he ran on, and that he's touted through, not even just throughout this whole administration and throughout this campaign, but even throughout his first term as well, which I find really interesting. Has he met with any other world leaders? Oh yeah, absolutely. He's met with, now that's a given. He's definitely met with several world leaders, tons of world leaders. I mean, even over like the last week, he met with the prime minister, the new prime minister of Canada. He's met with Vladimir Putin. He's met with Volodymyr Zelensky. He's met with Benjamin Netanyahu. I mean, he's met with several world leaders, that's for sure. Abroad, yes, absolutely. I mean, even on just this trip, absolutely. And Courtney, Syria has a lot to prove before sanctions should be lifted. You know? I mean, no arguments there. No arguments whatsoever. In the meantime, though, during all of this, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky also said earlier today that he is sending a team headed to Istanbul to continue peace talks with the Russian delegation to ultimately bring an end to the war between them and Russia, hopefully. Now, he says that he wants to demonstrate to President Trump that Ukraine is seeking an end to the war, and that their aim is to attempt at least the first steps toward de-escalation. So, yes. Kiki, I wonder about his pro-Israel fan base. From what I have seen, like I mentioned like the Ben Shapiro's of the world, they are not a fan of this move, like I mentioned, which is really interesting, and because President Trump himself has been very, very pro-Israel, not just in this administration, not just in this term, but even in his first term as well. So I do think that's really interesting. I also this thought just kind of burst in my head. I kind of wonder now what the Candace Owens of the world think, because she has been a very big Trump supporter, but she's not pro-Israel. I now wonder what she thinks. And I'm not a Candace Owens fan, but I know she's kind of on that fence. So I just kind of want to know what she thinks. He's definitely pro-Israel. No, he's a Benjamin Netanyahu fan for sure. And and that's true too. That is true too. But I think he's been a Netanyahu supporter for some time. Absolutely. More so, I'd say more so in Netanyahu over just about everything and everyone else, I think. But like I mentioned, the trip will get wrapped up here pretty quickly, as it ends with today him being in Abu Dhabi. In other big news, though, today, speaking of President Trump, though, today the Supreme Court is hearing arguments in their birthright citizenship case. So if you remember, what was it, day 1 or day 2? True. In day 1 or day 2 of President Trump's second term, he actually signed an executive order that would effectively end the birthright citizenship. And if you're not familiar, so birthright citizenship is essentially part of the 14th Amendment, and it went into effect during right after the Civil War, essentially, and it was ratified, rather, in 1868 after the Civil War, and it essentially was there to ensure that formerly enslaved people would be able to be citizens, right? And it effectively overturned the Dred Scott decision, which at that time, the Supreme Court held that Black people, no matter their status, were not citizens. It overturned that, and it said that, no, if you were born here, all people who are born are naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, this is a quote, are citizens of the United States and the state wherein they reside. So this has been the rule of law ever since then. So now, to be clear, The Supreme Court is not ruling to overturn them. That is not what they're ruling on at all. They are ruling on whether or not the judges who ruled on Trump's executive order have the jurisdiction to do so. So yeah, it's very weird and it's very convoluted, because what they're doing here is just whether or not the lower courts actually have the jurisdiction to make a ruling on an order of that magnitude. That's all it is. They're not ruling on whether or not birthright citizenship is the rule of law or anything like that. That's not the case here. They are ruling on whether or not these judges had actual jurisdiction to make these actual rulings. That's it. That's what it is. So I do want to be clear on that, because I think a lot of people are actually thinking that birthright citizenship could actually be overturned with this Supreme Court ruling. That's not the case here. They are not actually ruling on birthright citizenship. And even in the way like a lot of these articles are written, like if you are to go in and even read a lot of the news articles, they're not even written all that well. And so I'm like, I want to be clear on that a lot. And I'm going to do a breakdown on this later today to explain to people. That's not what they're ruling on today. That is not what this case is. And to be clear, they're not ruling on that today. They're probably not going to issue a ruling today. I mean, they can. To be clear, they absolutely can. But yes, essentially what they are doing, the Trump administration is appealing the lower court's orders, and they are ruling on whether or not, like I said, these lower courts have the jurisdiction to do that. That's all it is. That is what this is. And like I mentioned, it's so convoluted. And like I said, when you read, even I'm looking at the AP, looking at CBS, looking at Fox, the articles even themselves are so convoluted. I'm like, that's not what this says. Let's see what you guys are saying in the comment section though, because I feel like I've been talking a lot. Rep have shown the Constitution isn't relevant anymore to them, which they were so big on. Ooh, okay. Courtney, you will have piece by piece all over the country if this changes. Oh yeah, for sure. This would be catastrophic. Oh, this is why we go to you guys. RH Media is so crooked. You know, I mean, I love to defend us sometimes, but then I really do. I want to defend journalism with my whole heart and with my whole chest. And then you have people like CNN's Jake Tapper out there writing books talking about the Biden administration and how they knew that that Biden was having issues throughout like the last several years of his administration. And I'm like, Jake Tapper, that was you. You were on CNN telling everybody everything was all good. What? So yeah, I mean, I can't argue it anymore. I'm with you guys. Let's see, Courtney, this will be a mess if the Supreme Court changes federal judges' ruling, doesn't apply nationwide. Yeah, I'm interested too. And like, I always tell you guys this, listen, for anybody who is new here, I will forever say this. I am a journalist. I am not a legal expert. I am a journalist. I have several degrees that tell me I know how to research and all that kind of stuff. I don't have not one degree that tells me I'm a legal expert. So yeah, I don't know. But I do agree with you. I think this will be a complete mess. It can't, and definitely has the potential to be a mess depending upon how they rule. So I'm definitely interested in following this and seeing how they rule. And I say this one all the time, for Supreme Court rulings, there is a woman on here, SCOTUS blog, that does a phenomenal job of breaking down Supreme Court rulings and in following them and just breaking down everything that you need to know. I'm going to be following her throughout the day and seeing what she says. I suggest everybody does the same because, like I said, she does a great job in breaking all of this stuff down. So, yes, any questions, that's my go-to. Kiki, journalism these days. I know. Let's see. I remember the Mifepristone injunction federally from a single judge. Yes. Same. Same. Absolutely. Justice Thomas and Scalia opinions ought to be interesting. I agree. Same. Oh yeah, Courtney, I'm telling you, she does such a great job. I want to say, actually, I started following her during that whole Mifepristone thing. I think that was one of the Supreme Court ones I started. If it wasn't that one, it might have been even Roe v. Wade. I've been following her for a long time, and she's so good. So good. Oh, Dee, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Oh, Gab, yes, if you are looking for someone who can break down Supreme Court rulings, Supreme Court, just information on just Supreme Court and what to do, SCOTUS blog. Yes, she's right here on TikTok. You can find her. She's phenomenal. She goes live normally from right outside of the Supreme Court and breaks down everything. She usually follows and I mean all of their different opinions that they issue and everything. She's phenomenal. I absolutely love her. And yes, she gives such great in-depth analysis. I love following her. She's a great one. Ooh, strict scrutiny. Thank you so much for that one. I'll write that one down. I'm always looking for new people to follow that give good analysis, because it really is hard to find sometimes. And I do love, like, with the rise in social media, there are a lot of new voices and a lot of new people out there that give really good analysis. So let's see. Strict scrutiny. Arturo, good morning. I'm going to check them out. Thank you so much. Thank you, Uptown Lens. I appreciate that. 3 lawyers break down the Supreme Court's. Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. I'm going to check them out. I'm definitely going to check them out. Yes, I love learning. I love learning from experts. You know what I mean? That's the best way to learn. All right, let's see some more trending stories that also have a lot of people talking this morning as well. This one was really interesting. This one's one of the top ones on Google Trends. I don't know if anybody else saw this one though. One of the co-founders of Ben & Jerry's actually got arrested yesterday at the Senate committee hearing that was supposed to be for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. So I don't know. I talked about this one a little bit yesterday in my live, that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was having a Senate committee hearing, or he was testifying at a Senate committee hearing. That was essentially him talking about, some of his plans and why he needed some funding for some of the things that he planned on doing for his Make America Healthy Again initiatives. But what's interesting though is that the co-founder of Ben & Jerry's, the Ben of Ben & Jerry's, wasn't arrested for protesting Robert F. Kennedy Jr. or really anything with health. He was actually arrested for protesting essentially the war in Gaza. So officers actually physically removed Ben Cohen, again, the Ben of Ben & Jerry's, and 6 other pro-Gaza protesters after he got up at one point and started shouting about the war in Gaza. And even afterwards, he said that, quote, Congress kills poor kids in Gaza by buying bombs and pays for it by kicking kids off of Medicaid in the US. So yeah, and now, to be clear, now if you're not aware, Ben & Jerry's as a company they're very outspoken about certain, political ideologies. And this has been one of theirs where they really have stood by, right? They have really been pro the Palestinian people on this movement, especially. Now, Ben Cohen has been released from police custody and everything like that. However, they have also said, as a company, Ben & Jerry's has said that they will actually not allow their products to be sold anywhere that is occupied Palestinian territory. And they said that as of 2021. And as far as anybody can tell, they have stopped selling Ben & Jerry's ice cream in occupied Palestinian territory. So yeah, they actually they're one of those companies that actually puts their money where their mouth is. They really do. And I feel like it's one of those things that isn't really well known, that Ben & Jerry's is, I guess for lack of a better term, they're about that life. It really is. They are really about that life. Like they really, really are. But it has been trending very, very much so on all on social media, which like I said, I think it's really, really interesting that everybody has been talking about this one. I like it. I really do. Let's see. Ben is about that life. Like, seriously, it really is. Yeah, it was really, yeah. It was really like it wasn't the greatest hearing ever. At one point though, yeah, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. even said, he was like, I don't think anybody should be listening to me for health advice or for medical advice, which, to be clear, I felt like everybody should be pretty in agreement on. Like, he did flat out say it, so I was just like, oh, okay. But again, I feel like it's a very interesting, I don't know, kind of paradox here, because I feel like most people completely agree with him on his stance when it comes to, when it comes to food safety. When it comes to taking out all of these, harmful ingredients out of our food, when it comes to food dyes and everything like that. All of his announcements that have come out recently when it comes to food safety, pretty much everybody is in agreement on. And to be honest, everything that he has really said about vaccines since he has become over Health and Human Services, because he hasn't said anything. He hasn't said anything. True, but the thing is, Michelle is, as First Lady, you don't really have any power. To be fair, I'm like, we say it, you're First Lady, you don't do anything. You're there to be pretty. I mean, and it sounds bad, but these are facts. It's kind of like just like Second Gentleman. You don't have any power. You just kind of sit there. You're ornamental. You know what I mean? And to be fair, she tried as much as she could. As much power as she had to wield, she absolutely did try and wield it. It just didn't work. And now, yes, he's doing the exact same thing, and he's really not getting any pushback. Yes. He's really not getting any pushback from that perspective. The things that he's saying, most people don't really have a problem with, which I think is really interesting. I think most people have problems with the stuff that he said before he really became Director of Health and Human Services, which I think it's really interesting. I do. Aaron, talking about a little bit of everything. So right now we are really talking about, we are talking a lot about, right now, the Ben and Jerry's co-founder who got arrested for disrupting the Robert F. Kennedy Jr. hearing, which kind of just devolved into something else. Talked about the hearing in general. Let's see. And I see you said there was a unanimous decision today from the Supreme Court. I didn't see. Hold on, let me see. Hold on, let me head over. Let me check out something real quick. Because since my updates are off real quick, since I'm on live, I don't ever get... Oh, I see. Hey, Lost in Translation. Hello, hello. Oh, I see. Yeah, that was for a different one. Because, yeah, I was going to say, they're not ruling on that one today. What was the ruling on? I don't know what they were ruling on today. I don't know what was up for them to rule on today. I don't know what else was on the docket because I really didn't look at the entire docket for today. I do know one thing that we did talk about, though, that they are hearing arguments on for today is the birthright citizenship. They're hearing initial arguments on that, and we did talk about that one just a little bit because I do want to be clear. They are not weighing the legality of birthright citizenship. And I have to keep saying that over and over and over for people. They are not weighing whether or not they're going to overturn birthright citizenship. That's not what's at stake here. So that's the important part. Police use of force had to be objective, not subjective. Oh, okay. A member of a National Guard applauding mass shootings in Detroit. Ooh. Oh, yes. I see that. The former Michigan National Guard. So I saw that when, so the FBI actually, they arrested a former National Guard member of the Michigan Army National Guard yesterday that was accused of planning to carry out a mass pew pew this week on behalf of the Islamic State at a military base near Detroit. Now, this is according to federal prosecutors. So agents arrested a 19-year-old on Tuesday after he traveled to an area near the Army installation and launched a surveillance drone in support of the attack. So, yeah. yeah. So that's an interesting one. Let's see. Articles are definitely misleading on the SC hearing in this case. Gets clicks, I guess. Yeah, and so I will say this too. A lot. Well, no. I was about to say because often it's because people don't understand it, but no, on the national cases they know. So, Courtney, I feel like we talk about this all the time. I feel like we really do. We talk about this all the time on here. I always wonder, how is it that you take these guys that are in the military? I would think that there are most patriotic young men and women, right? How is it that they get radicalized? Like, what is it that happens? Or what is it that doesn't happen that all of a sudden makes them just completely flip and makes them want to do something like this? And like I mentioned, this is a young guy. So the guy who was arrested, 19 years old. 19. It's unbelievable. So yeah, the attack was supposed to happen on Tuesday morning. Thankfully, law enforcement was able to step in before any of this happened. And yeah, but it was mostly because how they were able to step in was because the guy launched a drone into the air in support of the attack, and that's essentially how they were able to see what was going on, and they were able to bring him down. Holly, their frontal lobe isn't. That's very true. At 19, absolutely. That's very true. Aaron, recruiting numbers were so low over the past 4 years. They were literally. Oh no, that's a very interesting point. I hadn't thought about that. That's a very interesting point. Had not thought about that at all. That's true. Now, let's see. So the young man is charged in a criminal complaint with attempting to provide material support to a foreign terrorist organization and distributing information related to a destructive device. Now, he made his first court appearance just yesterday afternoon. And I'm going to try and see if I can pull more court records. I'm going to say this, though. And Courtney, I know you know better than everybody. With military records, I ain't gonna get them. Nobody's gonna get them. We can forget it. However, I will say, if he's convicted, he faces up to 20 years in prison. For each different count, he is charged with, it looks like, 4 different counts. So yeah. And lost in translation, absolutely. It's a whole different rabbit hole. You're absolutely right. This is a lot. We'd be talking about this one for a very, very long time. I mean, yeah. It's just interesting to me, what happens to these guys? True. I don't know. It's just interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I'm reading the article right now. ABC News has probably one of the more in-depth articles that I could find right now. There are a few more. But what's interesting though is nobody that I could see has an update following his trial. I just did a search and tried to. True. That's very true, Kiki. I just did a search though and tried to timestamp it, and I'm still. Let's see. I'm gonna sort by date. Yeah, even the latest articles, nobody seems to have an update with after his court hearing yesterday, which I think is really interesting. But that's kind of par for the course. So I'll see what I can find out and see if I can give you guys an update for later to see what all happened. Karen, thank you for the heart, friend. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So yeah, we'll see what's going on with that one. See if I can find out some more information for you guys on that. Let's see what else is going on. I don't know if you guys saw this one by any chance. So this one definitely made some headlines as well with Utah Congressman Blake Moore, who was caught sleeping during a vote in the House committee hearing. So some people were laughing at this one and some people weren't. So this happened at the end of an all-night meeting of the House Ways and Means Committee. So the committee meeting actually started at 2 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesday. And this was all over President Trump's his big bill, right? What he's calling his big, beautiful bill. And it's essentially his tax bill, right? The one that's going to, what was it? No tax on overtime, no tax on tips. That's adding the extra provisions to Medicare, and would add an unemployment provision to Medicare and all that kind of thing, right? So the vote, though, just happened just before 5 a.m. Eastern on Wednesday, about like 15 hours later.
Miss Tinney, no.
So there's a video, though, that shows around this time that the congressman was clearly asleep, and the video panned across several committee members as they cast their votes, and the congressman Blake Moore clearly asleep. He had to be awakened by his neighbor who woke him up to vote. Now some people are laughing at it, thinking it's funny. A lot of people though are kind of pissed off by it and saying like that he fell asleep on the job and that they're not taking the job seriously, all that kind of thing. And I just want to know, if you've seen the video, what do you think? Did you think it was funny? Were you kind of like mad at it? Like, what were your thoughts? Because I'll say this.
This is Fishbach.
I've definitely worked a 15-hour shift for my job, especially working in news, covering breaking news. I have definitely been that person that wanted to fall asleep on my feet. Have not. I almost have. I have not done it yet. Wanted to. So I empathize with him. I definitely do.
Mrs. Fishbach, no.
But
Mr. Moore.
I don't know. Maybe it was just me. I thought it was funny mostly because like I don't expect anything out of it. See, like Courtney, that's what I thought too. I'm like I thought it was funny. I was just like, it was like, bro, I kind of get it. Aaron, thank you for sharing the live. Thank you.
Mr. Moore.
Like, I don't know. Like, maybe it was just be like 15 hours. Like, and especially they were sitting there in the meeting for 15 hours. Not like you're standing up, like you were sitting there. Yeah, like
Miss Tinney, no.
I'd have been asleep.
Mrs. Fishbach. Mrs. Fishbach, no. Mr. Moore.
Like I thought it was kind of funny myself. Like, and I'm watching the video right now, and that man was knocked out. Like, he was neck right here. Like he was out.
Miss Tinney,
if I saw him in person, I would have laughed. No lie.
Mrs. Fishbach, no. Mr.
But again,
Moore.
that's just me, and I know y'all know my sense of humor. Straight up, like, what time did he get up that day? Like, seriously, like, who knows? Like, and again, they said, like, they had already been in that meeting, like, 15 hours. Like, I don't care what side of the aisle we're on, like, I would have probably been asleep, too. Like, you put me in a chair for however long, in a big leather chair, too, and you want me to sit somewhere? No, I'm out. Let it be halfway cold. I'm out. Like, I'm out. Courtney, I fly overseas all the time. That adjustment to your... Oh, I bet. Oh, yeah. Was it really? Oh, yeah. So, like, at this point, it was, like, 4 a.m. So, like, they had been in the meeting since, like, 2 p.m. And then it was 4 a.m. So, yeah, like, they had been there overnight at this point. Like, past your bedtime. So, yeah, that's why I'm like... Everybody's like... A lot of people are freaking out. And I understand it. Like, these are our elected officials. And we need to hold them accountable. But we also gotta, like, they are people. Like y'all, like, that would have went way past my bedtime. Like, ain't no way. I'd have been night-night. And stuff, exactly. Like, he obviously doesn't do it too often. Like, if he did, we would know about it. If he did, like, I tell people this all the time. I'm like, C-SPAN is there, like, recording everything. If you ever want to know what goes on in any of these, like, committee meetings or anything like that, they know. Like, they're recording everything. Let's see, Jerry. At least he was present. Straight up. Straight up. The amount of times, like, you will watch, like, a vote or something like that, and they're not present. Like, it's wild to me. In Texas, there was a whole congresswoman who had been missing for, like, months. Like, they had no idea. Like, she was in, like, a care facility. Like, her children knew about it, but, like, her office had been boarded up and everything. Like... was a whole thing. Like, Not Humbug with the shady comment. Holly, I struggle in a 1 hour meeting. Oh yeah, for sure. If you put me in a meeting after lunch, oh yeah. Especially like when like in school. I remember like being in high school and in junior high and everything like that. Coming back after lunch was absolutely terrible. Unnecessarily puffed up. Y'all are funny. I cannot. All right, let's see. What else do we have today? Also trending. For whatever reason, this one is also trending still on Google Trends. And I like to give you guys like the trending news along with like the more serious news as well. The streaming service Max is going back to HBO Max. They are changing their name once again, and I feel about this one the same way that I felt about the whole Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America. I don't care what you name yourself. I'm going to call you whatever I'm going to call you. Like, what's the line from Coming to America? His mama named him Clay. I'm going to call him Clay. I've been calling you HBO. You can call yourself whatever you want to. I've been calling you HBO. Like, I've been calling you HBO for the longest time. But apparently, the streaming service had called itself Max, and now they're calling themselves HBO Max again. And people are freaking out for whatever reason. It's the number 3 trending topic right now on Google Trends for some reason. I have no idea why. It's the weirdest thing in the world to me. But yes, apparently it's a whole thing. I do not know. Oh, I love humble people. Thank you for the follow, friend. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Holly, that is the real question. Are they going to get better shows? That's the real thing. That's what everybody wants to know. I don't know. I don't think they're actually going to. They're going to have the same shows. In their promos for all this, they were showing the same old things. They were showing Game of Thrones. They were showing Friends. They were showing Euphoria. They're going to have the same stuff. I'm like, and exactly, Argento, that's the whole thing. It cost them so much money to do this whole rebranding thing. And you know what's going to happen? They're going to charge us more for these subscriptions. That's all that's going to happen. Our subscription price is going to go up. And that's about it. We're going to have the same old stuff. We're going to have the same, what is it? They're going to have Harry Potter on there. They're going to have Friends. They're going to have Game of Thrones. Oh, I guess they will have Righteous Gemstones. So never mind. I'm going to stop talking about them because I do love my Righteous Gemstones. So that's it. I'll leave that be. But yeah, like that's, like, you know what I mean? That's about it. But anyway, so that one's been a big trending one. And people have been, I guess, freaking out and talking about that one a lot as well. So yeah, here we are. Also big trending topic on Google as well. So this one is a really big one. This one actually just moved up to number 1. There's a huge chemical plant that exploded in Spain near Seville that's leading to warnings for some 80,000 residents there. They're actually sending out recommendations that some 80,000 people there actually wear face masks or close their windows altogether. Actually, that they're recommending that they do both. So this chemical plant is sending up this huge plume of smoke right now. No injuries have been reported. But this chemical plant, it looks like I'm trying to see what kind of chemical plant this is. So they're not saying what kind of chemical plant it is. I know, let's see, the explosion happened at an industrial park there. But yeah, they're not saying what kind of chemical it is, other than they're just saying that it's sending up a huge plume of smoke. Now, this portion of Spain has had a couple of issues there over the weekend. So over the weekend, there was a fire at a chemical factory, but this was happening in northeast Spain that forced emergency services to issue health warnings in that area. And in that area, they had to have people stay inside for about a weekend, about the entire weekend, really. Then, if you remember, just a couple of weeks ago, there was that huge, massive power outage that lasted about a day that impacted Spain and Portugal. That power outage, investigators are still trying to figure out exactly what happened. They still don't know what caused that power outage. They have no idea. They have no clue what caused that power outage. They're still investigating. And now they do still say that, oh no, we know for a fact it wasn't a terror attack. That's all they're saying. But they have no idea what caused it. But they just want to keep saying it wasn't a terror attack. They're saying that they have ruled out that, but they don't know what else caused it. And I'm like, okay. Power went down over 2 countries, but you can rule out without a shadow of a doubt that it wasn't a terrorist attack and it wasn't a cyber attack. but you don't know what else it was. And now I agree, it could easily have been like some type of sun flare or something like that. But I don't think that you could easily, thank you, Maritza, thank you. But I don't think you could necessarily rule out anything at this point if you don't know what it was. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's just me. Aliens. I love that thought. That's what I'm going with. I'm going with aliens. Me and government always think we're, always. Like, and I hate that. I hate the lies. I hate the whole, like, it's the most annoying thing ever. I'm like, some of us can read. A few of us can, I swear. Like, it's so weird to me. So weird to me. I'm trying to see other big news of the day before I get off of here on this Thursday morning. Is there anything else that we want to talk about this morning? Oh, go for it. Pestilentials, thank you for the follow, friend. Thank you. Yes, if you are not already, do me a favor. Go ahead and give me a follow. I go live here most mornings, Monday through Friday, with your news updates here on TikTok. I'm also streaming live on YouTube and Twitch as well. You can find me at the Channing Curtis pretty much on every single platform. I go live on YouTube and Twitch with more kind of like in-depth. So like I show like videos and show the actual articles that I'm talking about on YouTube if you're interested in kind of seeing that whole thing. Because yeah, if you just want to see everything. Let's see. Oh, Lynn, I'm so sorry. It's okay. I can stay on a little bit longer. Don't worry. Thanks for sharing the live. Let's see. Didn't one of Elon's plants be found to be causing a huge amount of smog? Oh, I don't know. Which one of his plants? Let's see. I'm not sure. Let me do a little digging into that and I can ask you about that. Let me do a little digging into that one, into which one of his plants. I don't know which plant that would be. I don't know. But yeah, I can do a little digging into that one. What do I think about Trump forcing price controls on pharmaceuticals? Oh, Maritza, and I did cover Diddy trial. I can recap that one for you just a sec. I can do that. And Jerry, actually, I'm doing a little bit more research on the price controls because I actually just started looking at it. From what I've seen, I don't mind it. I don't. But I don't know. I don't know yet. And like, if anybody on here, like, y'all know how I am. I don't like formulating an opinion until I know more information. From what I've initially seen, I don't have anything against it yet. But like I said, I haven't seen enough yet. I've only read like one article. And I don't ever like formulating an opinion based on one article. You know what I mean? That's just not who I am. So let me do a little digging some more. Maybe that'll be my topic for tomorrow. But yeah, from what I've seen, I like it a lot. Like, because I think we can all agree that the price of most pharmaceuticals are astronomically high, right? Astronomically high. So yes, like I said, from what I've seen, I think it sounds like a good idea. However, let me do some digging first. Let me do that, and I can get back to you. Maybe that'll be one of my topics for tomorrow, so we can do that. Especially if insurance denies. 100%. No question. Maritza, updates on the Diddy trial. I got you, girl. Actually, that's a good one because they are actually in a break right now. So I can, I can do that one. So just to recap a little bit of what is happening right now with the P. Diddy trial. Of course, today is day 4 of this trial. So much is happening. And if you've gone through this recap with me, I'm sorry, bear with me. Please love me. Please still love me, guys. So to give kind of a recap of what's been happening over the last week with this trial. Of course, Sean Diddy Combs is on trial. He pleaded not guilty to racketeering conspiracy, 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. Over the last couple of days, we have heard from a couple of witnesses. We have heard from a male sex worker who says that he engaged in these freak-offs with both Diddy and with his ex-girlfriend Cassie, in which Diddy allegedly paid him thousands of dollars over years and would fly him out occasionally to these different locations, and would hire him in different locations to perform different sexual acts with Cassie and sometimes with other people involved as well. This male escort also says that on occasion he witnessed him occasionally like throwing things at Cassie, beating Cassie, things of that nature. Cassie has also taken to the witness stand over the last couple of days and is back on the witness stand today, where she's now taking questions from Diddy's attorneys. Today is the first day that they have gotten to cross-examine her. Over the last couple of days, it's been the prosecution asking her questions. And they've been focusing again more on the nature of their relationship, meaning her relationship with Diddy, on how their relationship started, on these freak-offs, who was involved, where they took place, and really on the nature of consent as to whether or not she really consented to the nature of their relationship, or if she was forced, or was put into these kind of situations. A lot of the things that she testified in yesterday was in regards to the nature of this forced arrangement that she was in. The details of this trial, yes, the details of this trial are just chilling. I mentioned this earlier, like the fact that her husband is sitting in that, and again, I said this earlier, her husband is also one of the people, or is the person who helped get her out of this situation, right? He helped remove her from the situation. And yes, he had to remove himself from this situation. Yesterday, she talked about a time where afterwards, like after she had stopped dating Diddy, that she was married and had kids, that she mentioned to her husband, had a conversation with him about wanting to unalive herself, and that she went to trauma therapy and she started writing things down and eventually got to writing so much stuff down that she had a whole book, and that she wanted to get it to Diddy so he could understand the magnitude of the things that he did to her. And she got it to him. And that's really kind of what was the catalyst for all of this, the catalyst for her lawsuit and for everything. That's what sparked everything, was that moment. And so yeah, it was a lot. It definitely was. It's been a lot has been said. And again, Cassie is kind of the star witness to all of this. They showed several times meaning the prosecution showed several times the full video of what happened in that hotel, where now we've kind of all seen the CNN footage, or the footage that CNN obtained from that hotel, where P. Diddy was seen kind of beating Cassie. That was only a small clip of it. There is a full, I want to say like 40-minute video that shows the full scope of everything that kind of happened. You see like hotel security and everything that gets involved. They even showed a written up statement from the hotel security officer explaining everything that happened. Cassie testified several different other times that Diddy also beat her throughout the years. I mean, they were involved together for 10 years or something like that. So she talked about several other times that this also happened. She talked about another time in 2018 when she tried to end the relationship. And at that point, they had gone out together, and afterwards he forced his way into her home, and he forced himself on her in a sexual manner. Now, she even says, though, that after that happened, they did still have a relationship after that, and that they got back into a consensual relationship afterwards. And the prosecution asked her about that. They kind of hammered her on that and said, how were you able to get back into a relationship with a person like this? You claim that they did all of these things to you, and you got back into a relationship with them afterwards. And she said, we had been in a relationship at that point for 10 years, and you can't just turn something like that off. And so, yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. Trauma is real. Like, and again, like, there are no cameras in the courtroom. There's nothing like that. So obviously everything that you're seeing from the courtroom and from the witness testimony, it's all sketches that are being done. There are some people who were able to kind of live tweet during the proceedings. There are some transcripts that you can see and everything like that, but there's no live footage or anything. So you're kind of trying to piece together fragments of things, but you can based on just the things that are said, you can piece together the emotions that are coming from what's being said on that witness stand. It's a lot. It is definitely a lot. I mean, it seems like all the commotions are all about the Benjamins. She already got the money. So she settled her lawsuit in 2023, and she said that on the witness stand. In 2023, she settled her lawsuit for $20 million. $20 million. She already has the money. He settled with her out of court. He settled with her. So, yeah, he settled with her out of court. Like, she sued him. He settled with her out of court for $20 million within 24 hours. So, yeah, I'm gonna leave that right there. Like, you know what I mean? Humbug, thank you for the follow. Thank you. And now, Lynn, I saw you said his children shouldn't be there. And a lot of people have said similar things, that his children should not be there. So his daughters were not there yesterday. His daughters, I believe, were on their way to prom or something like that. And his daughters have been removed for certain parts of the testimony. During some of the testimony from the male escort, they left the courtroom. But for the most part, his sons have been in there, and his mom has been in there. The rest of his family members have been in there. And it's kind of a defensive tactic, you know? And I mean, it seems harsh. And now I agree, yeah, that's not something I'd ever want my children to ever hear anybody accuse me of, right? But yes, it's the sympathy card, right? He and his team, they want the jury to see him as a family man. And also, they want to present themselves as a family and as a united front, and in kind of in a manner that, you know, these are allegations. None of this is true about me. That, you know, like, this isn't true about me. I would never do these kinds of things. And these are all lies about me. And because they're lies, I don't care about my children hearing these lies about me. That kind of stance, you know, and that's exactly what it is. So it's definitely a card for sure. And they're trying to exactly play every card at their disposal right now, because I mean, these are serious charges and this man has a lot at stake right now. I mean, he's been sitting in jail since September, and I'm sure he knows that he has a lot to risk. I mean, his livelihood, his businesses, his everything is on the line at this particular moment. So yeah. Like I mentioned though, today they're on a break, just a little short break right now. Cassie is on the stand right now, being cross-examined by Diddy's attorneys. They've started off pretty slow. I mean, they haven't gotten to anything too demeaning, and I mean that in saying, like, if you've ever seen or witnessed the cross-examination of a witness, or the cross-examination of somebody who's accused someone of any type of sexual assault or anything like that, that's what I mean by saying that. Like, right now, they haven't done the super hard-hitting things that tends to happen in these cases. Not yet. But the day is early. It's still very, very, very early. So they're kind of going over some text messages right now. Just very, like, little stuff. They're asking her about some messages that were on a BlackBerry phone. And just essentially, like, kind of setting the stage with the nature of their relationship, how their relationship started. And like I said, just kind of setting the stage for things, because, you know, more is definitely to come. And yeah, exactly. Relationships always start smooth, right? Like, they always do. Absolutely. And now I agree. I don't think anything is going to repair his reputation. I don't. And I agree. Even if he gets off for these, I would like to think that nothing will repair his reputation. However, based on what people have said on social media, like, people on social media are wild. I will say that. The amount of people on social media who I have seen that are just defending this man with their whole chest, who were saying that, you know, Cassie is not a victim because she agreed to participate in these freak-offs, that she agreed to this, that she was an adult, is mind-blowing to me. It's, I it's mind blowing to me. There are no words. Like, I am dumbfounded by it all. I would think that most people would have been like, use just the evidence presented. Like I said, I read the indictment and I was like, oh yeah, I'm done. Like, this is instant for me. Like, and very rarely do I feel that way about a case. Because also, I'm like, we had heard these allegations about Diddy for years. I thought everybody had heard these rumors about him. And there are certain things that you hear about a person that you don't even need to, like, necessarily, like, see the evidence on, right? Like, you don't need to, if 20 people are out there calling you a serial, I don't need to see the proof to know that you're one, right? There are certain things that people aren't ever going to call you. like, you know what I mean? That I don't need to see the proof and the evidence to know that you are one. Like that. And yes, Miss Bella LaBelle, like, exactly. Like, I'm like, what? I'm like, my God, it's insane to me. Exactly, it's like they didn't learn from R. Kelly or Bill Cosby or Harvey Weinstein or any of these people out there that are just, it's mind-blowing to me. He is an incredibly sick and twisted and demented individual. And I feel like we've talked about this before, but another concern that I have now, and I'm like, he was doing all of this and he has children. He has daughters. And I feel like that has not been brought up. And I understand this is a completely separate court case. It's a completely separate thing. But I feel like nobody has mentioned the fact that he has daughters. Is anybody concerned about this? Because I am concerned about his daughters. Like, were his daughters living with him? Like, because people who are that level of sick and that level of demented, like, you do need to be concerned about that around, if not their own daughters, around other people's daughters. Like, because when he met Cassie, she was 19 or 20. It's a fine line, friend. Like, not saying that he's out there messing with young girls, but I am saying that, like, he does have a sick and demented personality, and we know he has a tendency towards abuse and violent behavior. Those are facts. Like, Karen, exactly. Like, how would he feel if somebody was doing that to his daughter? Like, I have a lot of questions, and I definitely want to hear what Albie Sure is going to say. Listen. I want to hear what that man has to say with everything in me. Everything in me. I have so many questions about what he has to say. And again, like I said, there are just certain things that people aren't going to lie the same thing, or aren't going to lie the same lie about you for more than a decade, right? If people have been lying on you for over a decade and lying the same lie about you, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not going to happen. Like, I'm just saying. Like, it's just not going to happen. That's just not the thing. So yeah, it's conspiracy theories on. Yes, exactly. Like, I just, like I said, I have been done with social media for the last couple of days. Like, just seeing how people have responded to some of the things that Cassie said on the stand, and people are instantly turning against her and somehow making it seem like she's not actually a victim. It blows my mind, because I'm just wondering, I'm like, do you not know how that works? Like, do you not know what coercion is? Do you not know what it is? Do you not understand the term force? I don't understand it. Kiki, the conspiracy theories on the interwebs are dumbing people down. Absolutely. And that's the part to me, is that there are so many women. There's so many women who are saying this. So many women. That's the part that's blowing my mind. I'm like, what is this? I can't. I want to say that a lot of it is clickbait. Like, I have to think, oh, Aaron, a lot of women out there are saying that Cassie was a willing participant, because of course she got up there and she's admitted to a lot of things. Like, a lot of the things that she's admitted to, that's what makes me think that she is telling the truth, because she has admitted her part. She has gotten up there and said that, hey, she was the one that made the phone call to, like, a lot of these male escorts. But she's also said that, hey, Diddy controlled her life. Like, so Diddy was the one who owned her. Like, he paid her rent. So he owned her apartments, right? He had her lease and everything like that. He had complete control over her life. So his employees had her, knew where she lived. He knew where she lived. He had keys to her house, her car keys. They knew everywhere where she went at all times, things of that nature. So they had complete control over her life at all times, 24/7, right? So, but not only that, like they had financial control over her as well, because she was also signed to his record label. So he had all of her financial control as well. Everything, every aspect of her life, he controlled completely. But despite that, she still says like, hey, I was in love with this man. I was enamored with this man. So I did things to make him happy, thinking that if I made him happy, that, you know, he would be nice to me and that he would do things for me and he would, you know, be nice to me. Because obviously, like, again, she was in love with him. And so very early on, she said he mentioned that he was into voyeurism, right? And that he liked watching. And so she said he mentioned that to her. And she said she was very naive and very new to any type of like anything with regarding sexuality. And she didn't really know what that meant. And so he introduced her to this whole freak off thing. And she said the first time it happened, she said he was so happy about it and just so happy and enamored with her. She was like, oh, okay. So then this is what he likes to do. She didn't realize how deep it was going to get. And she said that several different times. She didn't. And then, and she was like, before she knew it, like she was just in this spiral and she couldn't get out. And obviously, like he's very violent and made all of these threats against her and against her life. She couldn't get out. She said several times she was scared. Her mom didn't know. Nobody around her knew just how dark and how deep it actually was because she was scared. She was afraid for her life. And yet people are making it seem like, oh, well, she was a willing participant. She couldn't leave. Where was she going to go? She didn't have money. She was afraid to tell anybody because, again, this man, we're not talking about a man who works a regular 9 to 5. We're not even talking about a man who is a manager somewhere or even a man who runs a company in your local city or town. We are talking about a man who is who runs stuff, right? We're talking about P. Diddy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's a very different thing. Oh, Kiki, for sure. And yes, the Mr. Provider thing. Like, yes, like it's, we've made it very clear in the beginning, no marking of territory. Like, listen. And yeah, it's really wild. But yeah, but unfortunately, there are a lot of women out there that are saying because Cassie admitted to all this, and like I said, she is being very transparent on the stand. They're saying because of that transparency, they're like, oh, well, she was a willing participant, you know, like she decided. She could have said no. She could have left. Like, what? I'm like, my goodness. I'm like, apparently, I don't know. My common sense isn't all that common. Like, I don't know what to say to these people. It's wild to me. The only thing I can say, I'm like, man, I hope it's never you. Like, that's all you could ever say to people like that. I'm like, I hope you don't get to experience it firsthand. I hope you never get to learn why it's actually not that easy. Like, that's all you could ever say to people like that. Is like, I hope you don't ever get to see why you're so wrong. Tay, that part right there. It just goes to show how much awareness is actually needed. That part right there, because it is very much so needed. So very much. Absolutely. All right, guys. Thanks so much again for another awesome conversation. This was fun today. I will be back again tomorrow morning with more news updates for sure. We'll have more to talk about on Friday. Hopefully, I will be some good news. I'll bring some good news to you on Friday. Oh, Miss Bella LaBelle, listen. All right, so then, yeah, I'm going to have to make sure that you join for tomorrow then, because I think I might do tomorrow. I think tomorrow evening, I'll do like a full recap of the whole week 1 of Diddy's trial. That'll be tomorrow night. So Miss Bella LaBelle, look for a DM for me, because yeah, I could use some insight. So yes, absolutely. Y'all have a fantastic Thursday. Look for me tomorrow at 9 a.m. as well. And if you're interested in more Diddy news, again, I will be back tomorrow night recapping the full week of this trial. In the meantime, guys, like I said, have a great week. If you're not already following me, please go ahead and do so.